I want to begin, of course, by thanking Officer Talley's family for sharing his memory and his life and his story with the rest of us. It's truly inspirational. Today we're gathered with heavy hearts, and we remember a man who gave so much to his family, his community, the community that I live in, Boulder, Colorado, and his state, the state of Colorado. I didn't get a chance to know Officer Talley in life, but what I and so many others who are here have learned over the last few days make us all wish that we had known him in his life. And I know that so many of us now know him in blessed memory. If there's one thing that's abundantly clear, it's how much he loved his family, his wife, his children. As a father of two, when I heard he had 7 kids, I said he deserves an award for that alone. When you're a police officer, you're a public servant, to serve and protect. And there's many, many sacrifices that you make throughout your career. You're exposed to danger and to trauma the rest of us can only imagine in our nightmares, and that can stay with those who serve for their lives. Those who serve and protect miss birthdays, anniversaries, special holidays. They can't always be home in time for dinner or bedtime, and they know each day they go to work that they might never be returning for dinner or bedtime. And yet, our men and women in uniform show up every day, ready to protect and serve. And from the big sacrifices to the little ones, the dedication of Officer Talley, our men and women in blue, is often undervalued. Officer Talley has been mentioned, came to a life of service midway through his career. He had a career in information technology, but he felt called to do more for his neighbors and his community. And in spite of all the challenges that come with a career in law enforcement, he took that leap. He also learned for himself the joys that come with a career in law enforcement. Just as Officer Talley loved his family, that love extended far beyond his own home and reached so many in the Boulder community and well beyond. Officer Talley was the kind of man who went out of his way to brighten someone else's day and was often the first to lend a helping hand to those in need. As a fellow officer said, quote, "Everybody deserves a friend like Eric. Everybody does," end quote. And it's just amazing to hear the outpouring stories, memories that coworkers and people in the community have of Officer Talley. For example, when a water main broke in North Boulder, Officer Talley was one of the first to respond, and when Sergeant Wegscheider found him, there was Officer Talley, shovel in hand, working to help a woman whose basement had flooded. Several neighbors remarked how much they appreciated his help and his willingness to dive right in. And in December, when Officer Talley learned about a young boy in Denver who was in the hospital fighting cancer, and all the boy wanted for Christmas was police stuff, so without hesitation, Officer Talley took it upon himself to collect patches, business cards, and memorabilia from Boulder Police Department and neighboring police departments, delivered them to the boy and his family. Or how, when a fellow officer would go to the hospital for surgery or treatment, Officer Talley waited with their loved ones in the lobby, offering comfort and support. He often paced the floors with them, sharing coffee, snacks. And when those officers woke up, he would often be one of the very first people from the department at their bedside, greeting them as a friend with a smile. And for Eric's family and friends, I know that these stories, these snippets just barely scratch the surface of a remarkable life lived. And therefore, it's no wonder that there's been such an incredible outpouring of love and support for Officer Talley and his family from across Colorado and across the United States and across the entire world. This outpouring of love comes in the form of kind words over the phone and special notes shared in a card, extra help. And for those who he knew well and are left behind, it's going to be the quiet moments when you miss him the most, when you feel that the world might have moved on. But you know, those who loved him most will never be alone, because we all now celebrate his memory. And we will never forget the sacrifices that he made and the sacrifices that your family has made. As governor, I speak for the entire state of Colorado when I say that we are here for you, and we will always be here for you. Those that didn't have the honor of knowing Officer Talley in life now know him in blessed memory, a memory that we will always cherish. Officer Talley gave his life just as he lived it, in the service of others. Although will be painful, it's also a joy to remember Officer Talley for who he was. It's a sign of a life well lived when you're beloved, like Officer Talley. And I hope, and I know, that his memory will serve as an inspiration for every Coloradan. And in that inspiration, we're lifted up ourselves. We're given a guiding light for living our own lives. And let his legacy be that reminder that we all have the opportunity, the responsibility to do even more for one another, just like he did.